Hello, everybody. Welcome to Olga channel. It's been a while and I've missed all of you. All right, so today I'm going to talk about bond valuation. Bond valuation. Okay, so I'd like to share my screen, then we'll proceed. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this channel. God will surely bless you. And I pray that God will grant all of us understanding and wisdom. Amen. All right, so let's talk about bond valuation. So basically, when we talk about a bond, what is a bond? So a bond is basically a debt instrument. See, it's kind of like you going for a loan from the bank, but then with bond is different because it's a security. It's a debt instrument that is traded on the stock market, or let me say on the open markets. It's traded on the market. So it's not like the capital market is not like the Makola, the Agbogblosi, and all those markets that you go. No. It's kind of something like virtual, but then it's a market. As long as people trade on that market, or people exchange goods and services, people exchange or bonds for money and all that. It's a market. So bond is basically a debt instrument which obligates the issuer. So with bonds, since it's a debt instrument, you know that every debt instrument there's an obligation to make certain interest payments. It's an obligation to make certain interest payments. So bond is not an exception. So for a bond, the issuer is the one who is coming to borrow the money. So the person who issue the bond on the market that, oh, I'm in need of this kind of amount, so I'm issuing a bond, and then a bond is kind of like a certificate or something. You get it, just to stand for your money. All right, so the person will issue the bond in the market, and if an investor, so the person who buy it is called an investor. So if I buy that bond, I become the investor. So the issuer is obligated to make regular interest payment to me, and that interest payment is called coupon payment. We'll look at that later. So the issuer is obligated to make regular interest payment to the investor over a specified period of time. That's till the bond matures. So the time that the borrower will be able to pay the issuer its original amount. Get it? So that is what a bond is. So a bond is basically a debt instrument that obligates the issuer to make regular interest payment to the investor over a specified period of time and pay back the face value or the original value of the bond at maturity date. So that's kind of like a reasonable fatty definition of bond. Okay, so when we're talking about the bond, you heard some kind of keywords in the definitions. All right, so we heard something like regular interest payment, and as I said, regular interest payment, we are talking about coupon. So in bond, we use the word coupon payment. You get it? So it's kind of like, why would a bond require or a debt instrument require the borrower to make interest payments? So this is basically because of time value of money, and then the risks involved. Basically because of time value of money and the risks involved. So say that 10 cedi today is far more better than 10 cedi tomorrow, because I can use that 10, especially in this season where inflation is on the rise, prices are just rising here and there. If I can buy raincoats for 10 cedi today, there's no guarantee that I can buy that same raincoat for 10 cedi tomorrow. So that's the reason why if I'm giving my money to you so that you use it for your work, if you return the same amount of money to me in, let's say, 3 years' time, I can't buy the same quantity of goods. So in order to compensate me, you need to what? At least give me something every year so that even if you return the same amount, I wouldn't be on the losing end. But the amount you give me every year, I can invest. And by the time you return my money, I would have gotten what? Something that would increase the value of my money. So that's basically the reason why debt instruments obligate issuers or borrowers to what? To make regular interest payments to what their investors. Do you get it? So that's the coupon payment. So it's a regular what interest payment that the borrower will make toward the lender or the investor over the life of the bond. And we had maturity date. So when we talk about maturity date, it's just basically the day that the owner will what reclaim the face value of the bond. So when we talk about face value, it's talking about the original value of the bond when it was issued. So we talk about bond is a security that we trade on the capital market. So first and foremost, if let's say the government issues a bond, so he is the primary host of the bond. So the amount that he would issue the bond for is the face value. Or you can say the principal value. You get it? So let's say you go for a loan from a bank. So the amount that the bank will give to you, that becomes the original or the face value, or let's say the principal value. You get it? So if you lend that money back to somebody, since you are going to pay interest to the bank, at least you add something to that money. You get it? So the value will change. So that will be in the secondary zone. So the face value is the amount or the value of the bond when the primary host issues it. So that's the face value. So maturity date is basically the what period at which or in which the owner or the issuer or the investor would would be able to reclaim its face value or the original amount. That's the maturity date. All right, okay. So that's basically some of the key terms in the definition of what? Of a bond. So we have many types of bonds. I don't have all of them off head, but then what we'll be talking about is the plain vanilla bond. So that's the commonest type of bond. The bond that requires a fixed coupon rate, a fixed annual coupon payment. That's the plain vanilla bond. But we have callable bonds, we have um, inflation linked bonds, and all kinds of bonds. But then we'll be looking at the plain vanilla bonds. All right. So the definition of a plain vanilla bond, like is the same thing as the definition of an actual bond. You get it? So there are other key terms that we have to take note of bond. So okay, let's make a comparison. We said bond is important in a capital market, right? The same way we know about stocks. So bond is kind of like a debt instrument, and then stock is kind of like an ownership instrument. Sometimes they have some similarities, but one thing that stands only for bond is what? The yield to maturity. The yield to maturity. So we talk about the yield to maturity. What is the yield to maturity? So this is what the total return that an investor would expect on the bond if he or she holds the bond till maturity. So that's the yield to maturity. It's the return that you can only attain if you hold on to the bond till its maturity. So I think by now you understand the meaning of maturity. You get it? So that's the yield to maturity, and it's very important in the valuation of what bond. So usually we call it YTM. So if you see any question anywhere YTM, that is relating to bond. Because someone can have an abbreviation YTM. But if it's relating to a bond, then it's basically yield to maturity. And it's very important in what in valuing a bond. So coupon rate, yield to maturity. You can't exempt them in your understanding of what bond valuation. All right. So don't end the video because you need to understand the basics before you be able to calculate. Because some of the questions, if you don't understand it, you can't answer. All right. So we have a term also known as current yield. So talk about current, something that is present. So we want to know the what return am I gaining in this particular year, right? Pertaining to this particular bond. That's the current yield. The return that an investor or the return on an investment that an investor would expect on his or her investment at a particular period, not at the maturity date, but at a particular period. So let's say if I want to know my current yield on this bond, how would I know? So we'll look at the formula for all that. So if now we are moving on to valuing the bond. So if you are given a question, say the question tells you, or someone comes to you and the person tells you that, okay, so before I forget, not everyone can issue a bond. An individual cannot issue a bond. Usually it's those huge agencies. So let's say a government can issue a bond, a company can issue a bond, the municipality can issue a bond, and other agencies, but individuals do not issue bonds. You get it? So now let's go back to the evaluation. So how do we find, let's say, the coupon payment? So coupon payment, that's the easiest calculation in a bond valuation. So if, let's say, I'm told that the face value of a bond is 1,000. So now when I talk about face value, I'm sure you understand that means the original amount that the bond was issued for at the start, so in the primary market. So if any security is issued freshly or fresh, is issued first in the primary market. So primary colors, those things that come first, and secondary is the second and all that. So if, let's say, the government issues and then now it's trading, the trading takes place in the secondary market, and that is where the bond price in particular period are determined. You get it? So the demand and supply and all that. Okay, so how do we calculate coupon payments? To calculate for coupon payment, you just have to know what the face value of the bond and then the coupon rate. So don't forget that we said that the coupon payment is fixed throughout the life of the bond is fixed. So since it's fixed, its value is based on the face value of the bond. So if the face value of the bond is 1,000, then you are told that we are giving you a coupon rate of say 5%. You get it? So coupon rate is just like interest payment, and then in bond we call it coupon. Okay. So if you want to know the coupon payment, you just multiply the 1,000 by the 5% and you get your coupon payment. So 5% times 1,000 will give us 50. So it means every year, annually, you are entitled to 50 cedis, $50, depending on the currency, every year until the bond matures. So that's how you find for the coupon payment. And then if you want to find for the yield to maturity, that one is kind of uncertain. Like you can't get an actual yield to maturity figure unless you use the trial and error method. You get it? So the formula that usually they use, maybe you're in a hurry, you are valuing a bond for a company, all that. So the formula that they use just to be able to make certain analysis is that the yield to maturity, so YTM, or is equal to C. So C stands for the coupon payment, right? Plus into brackets the face value the face value of the bond minus its current price. Alright, minus its current price over the time, that's its maturity period, all over the face value of the bond plus its current price. So I'm using PV because of present value, but then it just stands for its current price. Okay, all over 2. So this is basically an approximation. You want to find the yield to maturity. You use this formula just to get an approximated value. But to get, let's say, something very close to what the actual figure, you can use trial and error method. So in bond, we have some assumptions or some analogies. So let's say if, and it's very important because in most of the questions, you need to know these assumptions so that you're able to know, okay, so what I've solved for, is it correct? What I'm valuing, am I on the right track? So let's say if the coupon rate, that's the issuer, what announced on the bond, if that coupon rate, right, is greater than the yield to maturity. So what you expect to get in totality at the end of the maturity date, that's the yield to maturity. So if the coupon rate is greater than that yield to maturity, then it means in the secondary market, the bond is trading at a discount. So what we are trying to say is that since the secondary market, there are always variations, the market rate always changes. It's not fixed. So you might get a high yield today, tomorrow you might not get the same thing. It depends. All right. Okay. So if let's say what you are expecting to gain in return is lower than your coupon rate at this point, then you'll be trading, the bond is trading at a discount in the market, at a premium in the market. So what I mean is if let's say your coupon rate is say 5%, and then your yield to maturity is say 2%, then it means the price of the bond in the market would have a premium. But you say a premium, it means the price will be greater than its face value. So if it was 1,000, that's the face value. If it's trading at a premium in the market, then it will be let's say 1,020 or 1,200. That means it's greater than the face value. That will be the current price. So someone say, so why is it so? You get it? Why is it so? So if let's say I have a bond with me, right? I have a bond with me at a particular moment. And then the the coupon, how should I put it? So let's say the coupon payment is 5%. Then then the government issues a new bond. Then the coupon payment is, let's say, 3%. Get it? So if let's say I want to go and buy that bond that the government is selling, which is at 3%, but then the current one that I'm having is 5%. 5% and 3%. 5% is bigger than 3%. So if you want to buy my bond, don't expect me to sell it to you at the same 1,000, because if I do, it means that if I go and buy the new issued bond, I'll be losing. So if I want to sell this bond to you, it means I'll add something to it, right? I'll add something to it so that uh, if I go and buy the new bond, I will not lose that much. You get it? So with that, the bond will trade at what? A premium. The bond will trade at a premium. And then with the discount, if let's say the coupon rate is 2%, and then the yield to maturity is say 4%, then it means the bond is trading at a discount. But why would the coupon why would the bond trade at a discount? So let's say that the government issues a new bond, and then the coupon rate is 3%, but the one I'm holding currently, its coupon rate is 2%. So if I want to sell the bond to you, I want to sell the bond to you. Since the new coupon rate is 3%, I can't sell the bond to you at the same 1,000 because you just leave and go and buy the one with the 3%. So if I wanted to buy my bond, then I have to reduce what the price on my bond so that you can what buy it, and then you will not be on the losing end. You get it? So at that instance, the bond will trade at what a discount in that period. So that's what the assumption in the market. All right. So if you find a question and then they're asking you to find the price of the bond, and then you are not sure, just compare the coupon rate to the yield to maturity. If the coupon rate, so let's take this first example. If the coupon rate is bigger than the yield to maturity, then it means that the bond is trading at a premium. Just keep it in mind. If the coupon rate is trading, let's say at 2%, and then the yield to maturity is 4%, then it means that the bond is trading at a discount. So if you calculate for the bond price, and then you find out the amount you got is bigger than the face value, it means it's a premium, and then it meets this condition, then you are right. But if it doesn't meet the condition, then it means you have to check your calculation. That's why I said this condition is very important, because if you know this condition, then when you are calculating and you get your answer, you are sure that, oh yes, this is what I'm supposed to get. You get it? So if the coupon rate is greater than the yield to maturity, the bond is trading at a premium. But if it is less than the yield to maturity, it's trading at a discount. And then the reason I gave this is what I said. That's, let's say, so it's an assumption. You get it? So I hope you remember why a bond will trade at a premium, why a bond will trade at a discount. It's because of the varying interest rate. That's what takes place in the secondary market. So here and there, interest rates are changing. And if they are changing, as humans, we react to that. You get it? So let's open a new page. So now we are going to take a question, right? And then we know how to solve for what the bond price. So that's basically the bond valuation, finding for the what bond price. And then in our PV, when we're learning present value, future value, when you want to know the present value of what something of an investment, is what discounting all the future cash flow that you get from that investment and bringing it to the present, so that you know what the investment will cost at this point. So that's the same analogy that we use in valuing a bond. So if you want to know the current price or the bond price, or what the bond should sell for at this instant, then we know that its future cash flows, which was what the coupon payment, regular coupon payment, we need to discount all of them back to the present, and we know the bond price. But this one, there is an addition to it, because don't forget, in the definition of bond, we said that after the issuer has made the regular payment, the issuer must return the face value to the borrower at maturity date. So when you are discounting, you need to discount that maturity figure to the present, because the investor is assured of receiving that face value, that original value, at the maturity date. So when you're discounting, you don't ignore that. You don't only discount the future cash flows, but then you discount the the face value that you receive at the maturity date, inclusive. I hope you understand. So in our annuity formula, in finding the present value of what annuity cash flows, right? Because we said that the coupon payment is fixed. So it's kind of like an annuity. Annuity is fixed, right? So the formula, that means bond price. So I just label it BP is equal to C, which is the annuity that we are receiving. But here we are not using A to stand for annuity because here is coupon payment. So we are using C times 1 minus 1 over 1 plus. So we know that in our annuity formula, yield to match, we have R as the interest rate. So in the bond, the replacement here will not be the coupon rate, but will be what the yield to maturity, because that determines our total yield, our total return when we hold the bond to maturity. And when we are finding the bond price, we discount the maturity figure too. So it means that we will need the yield to maturity and not the coupon rate. So here will be yield to maturity raised to the power our n. Don't forget that there is what YTMA. So in our present value of annuity, we had our annuity over the interest rate times bracket open 1 minus 1 over what into bracket 1 plus the interest rate all raised to the power n. So that's basically the same thing here for the cash flows. But then since we have our face value inclusive, then we might discount that one too because we'll be receiving that face value at the end or at the maturity date. Since the maturity date is not today, but we want to know the bond price today, and that maturity date amount is the money that we'll be receiving, cash inflow. We need to discount that to the future. So our face value, which will be using the normal discounting of future value formula, all over 1 plus our yield to maturity, not the coupon rate, all raised to the power n. So this was the formula for finding the bond price. Then one thing I want you to take note is that when the question says that the coupon rate is paid semi-annually, so that's basically what usually the bond issuers do. They pay the coupon rate semi-annually every 6 months, but then some can decide to pay it annually. But then if in your case, what you're asked to do is, it says the coupon payment is made semi-annually. Keep it at the back of your mind that when you are calculating for the coupon rate, you divide it by 2. So if they say the coupon rate is say 5%, and you are finding for it semi-annually, it will be 5%, 5% divided by 2 times the face value. And then when you are finding the bond price in that same question, you have to divide the yield to maturity by 2. You have to divide the yield to maturity by 2 because the coupon rate that we are using, the C here, has followed that procedure, that's semi-annuality. So we've divided it by 2 already. So you need to effect that change on the yield to maturity, else there will be deviations. So anytime the coupon rate is semi-annually paid, then the yield to maturity must be what? Divided by 2, as you also semi-annual. I hope We understand that. All right. So now we will take a question. All right. So I want to say this. BB. All right. So I come to take a question. So the first question is oil well supplies oil well supply offers 7.5% coupon bond with semi-annual payment and a yield to maturity of 7.68%. The bond mature in 6 years. What is the market price per what bond if the face value is 1,000? So one thing that we have to take note here is that you need to what factor out certain variables in order to calculate what the bond price. So now question or the demand for us here is to what find the price of the bond. And we need to take note of the variables we need. First, first in the formula, we need what the coupon payment. We need the yield to maturity. And we need the what? The number of years. We need the number of years. So let's go back to the question. So now they said it offers 7.5% coupon bonds. So this becomes the coupon rate, which we use to find our coupon payment. And then there's a clause here that says semi-annual payment. That means the rate you divide it by 2. It is paid every 6 months, not every year. Then we have a yield to maturity here of 7.68%. Since the coupon is paid semi-annually, then our yield to maturity will be affected with that semi-annual leaking. Then the bond matures in what 6 years, and its what face value is 1,000. Then the condition that I talked about, now whether the yield to maturity is less than the coupon rate or the other way around. So when we look at this place, the coupon rate is 7.5%, and then the yield to maturity is 7.68%, which means that the coupon rate is less than what the yield to maturity. Therefore, the bond price in the market must trade at a discount. That is, it's the price that we get for the calculation must be less than the face value, which is 1,000. So if you get a price which is greater than that, then it means you are on the wrong and danger zone. All right, so let's go to this place. So now we have our coupon rates, right, to be 7.5%. Then we have our yield to maturity of say our yield to maturity is 7.68% per the question, right? Then the face value of the bond is 1,000, right? Then let's see what else. We've gotten our coupon rate, we've gotten our yield to maturity, and we've gotten the face value. So the bond will mature in what? 6 years. So the N, which is the number of years, will be 6. And then since it's semi-annual, then it means payment, we just write semi-annual. So now that you've gotten this information here, one thing you should keep note is the condition, which says that since the coupon rate is what is less than the yield to maturity, then the bond price, right? Then the bond price will be what? Is equal to what? A discounted amount. That is, it will be less than what? This face value. So now we know the formula. I know by now you put in the formula. So you are just going to what? Punch this formula in a calculator, right? And see the answer that we get. So I'm challenging you to also solve it for yourself, right? So you know the formula. Just input the figures, but don't forget, first find the coupon what? Payments, because you need that in the bond price formula. So the coupon payments would be 7.5 percent divided by 2 times the face value, which is what? 1,000. The face value, which is 1,000. So what will we get? So you also calculate it for yourself. 7.5% divided by 2 times 1,000 give us 37.5. 37.5. So now we've gotten our C in the bond price formula. Now we need our yield to maturity. So our yield to maturity, we need to divide it by what? 2. So in this case, someone can say, since it's semi-annual, I can find the what effective yield to maturity. Someone can also say that I will just impute it straight in the formula so that I'll get what my answer, right? So the writing will be slow, but then I want to write it so that you know how you type it, right? So we know that our bond price is equal to our C, which is what? Our annual coupon payment. And in this case is what? 37.5. Then we divide it by what? Our yield to maturity, which is what? 7.68% divided by 2. Then all into brackets 1 minus 1 over to bracket 1 plus the yield to maturity, which is what? 7.6. The 6 is not right, 68% divided by 2, then raised to the power 2 times the n, which is what? 6. So since the writings are not that good, but I want you to know how it will be, that's why I've just written it down. But then punch it well on your calculator, and then let's see what the answer would be. So I'm also doing it. So we have 37.5 divided by 7.68% on 2, open bracket 1 minus 1 on 1 plus our yield to maturity 7.68% on 2, all raised to the power 2 times our years, which is 6. Then we close the entire bracket. Then we will be getting 355, 355.23. So someone will say, hey, is this the bond price? No, 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 no. This is just the first part, finding the annuity part. So now you need to find the future value of the the present value of the face value, the present value of the original amount, which is the 1,000. You have to discount it back to the future, and you add it to this 355.23 to get the exact bond price. You get it? So if you want to find the present value of the face value, it should be 1,000 over. Don't mind the writing. What is important is for you to grasp it and understand. Yield to maturity, then raise to your power n. So we just replace this one with 7.68% divided by 2, and replace the n with the 2 times the 6. Then you know what you get. So with that 1,000 divided by 1 plus 7.68% on 2 raised to the power 2 times 6. So we'll be getting 636.24. When you add both of them, what will be your final answer? Our final answer would be 991.47. 991.47. And you realize that this figure is lower than the face value, which fits our condition that the coupon rate being less than the yield to maturity will result in a bond price with a discount. That's a bond price with an amount lower than the face value. Then you are correct. Good to go. Woo! All right, so I hope you got that. So I want us to look at something different. Maybe this will be the last one. So let's look at the question 3. The question 3, then we'll look at one last one and I'll end. Okay, because I don't want to do 2 videos on bond price. No. I don't know when I'll get time again. Okay, so Blackwell bonds have a face value of 1,000. The currently quoted price is 98.4. That means it is trading at a discount. The bond have a 5% coupon rate. What is the current yield on this bond? So this is the easiest. To find the current yield, so CY on a bond is just the annual coupon payment figure, coupon payment, all over the current market price of the bond. So that's how we find the current yield. Kind of like finding a percentage of return, or the return I'll be getting on the return that I will get when I buy this bond at this price at this time in this period. Okay, so now what's the So now the current price is 98.4. And how do we find the coupon payment? It's just the coupon rate is 5% times 1,000. So we have our 5%, 5% times 1,000. 5% times 1,000 give us, so 5% times 1,000 give us 500. 500. Then our current price is what? 98.4. So our final answer would be 5.08%. And realize that this is what this is what the current, so this is the current return that I'll be getting if I buy this bond, or with this bond that I'm holding. This is the current or the return I'll get in this period. So the yield to maturity, that one is letting us know the total returns you'll be getting. So the current yield is just the return I'm getting this period, but the yield to maturity is the return you get till the bond matures. I hope you understand this one. Now look at the last one. So I saw this question. I'm coming on. There is this question. I'm coming. Okay, so let's do for ABC. So now it has appeared. So this is the last question, then I'll end the video. Okay. So ABC Bank purchased a Bank of Ghana bond, which pays a semi-annual coupon of 25% with a face value of 10 million. Calculate its price if the current yield on the same 5-year bond is what? 16%. 16%. So the keywords here, one is which pays a semi-annual coupon bond. So semi-annual is here. Then we have current yield. So here we don't have yield to maturity. So you can't use the yield to maturity formula. You need to use the current yield formula and make some change of subject. You need to be careful. That's why I chose this way so that you understand. Someone just say, oh, I've seen yield. So just use the yield to maturity formula. Use the current yield as your discounting rate and then bring it to present value. You get it wrong. Because the question here says it's the current yield. And we know from the previous question that current yield is just the coupon payment divided by the current bond price or the market price. So if you want, you know your current yield, and then you want to find the bond price, change of subject. So your bond price, the bond price will be equal to the annual payment divided by what? Our current yield. Then the annual payment, they are saying that it's semi-annual, right? So semi-annual, it means 25%, we divide it by 2 times 10 million. So our C will be what? 0.25. 0.25 times 10 million divided by our current yield. current yield, which is 16%, right? 16%. So what will be your final answer? So let me see my final answer. My final answer is so big. So this 0.25, you need to divide it by 2. You need to divide it by 2 because of the semi-annual condition. So when we do that, our answer will be 7,800 and 7,800 7,000,000 812,500. So I hope you also got the same thing. All right, so this will be where I'll end the video. I've said a lot of things about the bond price, because if you understand the bond price, it's easy to understand the stock valuing of a stock. You get it? So in summary, the bond price is a debt instrument. The issuer must pay fixed payment or must make fixed payment to the investor till the bond matures, right? And then at maturity, the investor will get back his or her original amount. Then if you've seen how to find for the current price, that the bond price, using the annuity formula plus discounting of the face value. Don't forget that plus. We've looked at what some conditions, that if the bond in the secondary market, if the coupon rate that was issued at first is greater than the yield that will be getting whilst in the secondary market. If it's greater than that, it means in the secondary market, the bond is trading at a premium. That's at a price greater than the original value. But if the coupon rate is less than the yield to maturity, then it means that the bond is trading at a discount. That's at a price lower than the original amount. I've told you why that would be so. And also, we've looked at how to find current yield. I've known the difference between current yield and yield to maturity. Current yield is the return you get on the investment in a particular period, but then the yield to maturity is the total return you get when you hold the bond till what maturity. And you've known that if you have coupon rate that is paid semi-annual, then it means if you want to find the bond price, the yield to maturity must also be affected with what the semi-annuality, that's divided by 2 and then multiply the years by 2. So that's basically um about valuing what bonds. But you have to read some more questions and all that. So thank you so much for watching.